Parents of Reddit, what is the weirdest thing you caught your children doing? When my son was about 4, he was playing in his playroom. I was on the couch and heard some sounds behind me. It was just us. So I turn and see my son looking up at the light fixtures and whispering. I ask what he's doing. His response, "I'm asking all the light bulbs in the house to not fall and kill you." Thanks, son. He's truly got my back. I'm not a parent, but my niece was very upset that her older sister wouldn't turn the TV over when I was babysitting once. After about 10 minutes she pretended to be interested in the washing machine that was on at the time and sat in front of it and watched it like a TV. For an hour and 20 minutes. Her older sister watched the rest of her film but obviously wasn't enjoying it. She was outraged that her little sister was having a great time watching wet clothes spin round and round. It's the most creative act of revenge I've ever seen. Found my kid talking to the hole in the sink when he was 2. Turns out that's where he said God lives. Carry on, you weirdo. X's eldest hoarded cardboard tubes. If asked, they were simply for later. The youngest adopted and formed a strong emotional bond with the garlic for about a week. My mom caught me bringing eggs from the kitchen into my room and sitting on them in a blanket nest, hoping they'd hatch. What she didn't catch was that I had been doing this for a while and would put the eggs back into the fridge when they wouldn't hatch after a few days. We caught my sons, maybe 6 and 3 at the time, both sitting on the toilet together, one behind the other, pooping. They told us it was a double poop. We forbid them from ever doing that again. Edit to add, for those of you who think we are terrible parents because we stopped our children from doing double poops, please know they seem to be well adjusted and appear to have no permanent damage from this incident. We have provided them with ample outlets for their creativity that do not involve poop. When my daughter was little, old ladies would come over and enthusiastically ask her simple questions. Like, "What's your name?" And she would always reply in flat monotone, "Birthday cake." Then they'd ask another question like, "Oh, well, how old are you?" And she'd say, "Birthday cake." They would look over at us with great concern. So annoying. My brother decided he wanted a pea hat, which is literally what it sounds like, a hat he could pee in during the night. While already a stupid idea, since he didn't empty it, he chose a plastic hat with a hole in it. Edit, it was a toy construction hat with 2/4 holes in the top, meaning his makeshift toilet had 2/4 holes for the pee to leak from. And he was keeping it in his toy box. Not my child, but I've caught my sister doing multiple strange things as a child. The 2 most notable were, I once caught her playing with a bag with yellowish liquid inside when she was 10. She had pulled this bag from the side of her backpack. I asked her what it was. It was her own pee. She had been keeping it in there for days and once in a while, she pulled it out to play with. I was horrified. When she was 8, she cut off her doll's hair, dismembered it and gave it a funeral which she made all of us attend. She went to dig it up several days later but it wasn't there. She's done many other things but those were the 2 weirdest things she did. I woke up to my 5-year-old spraying Windex on the window beside my bed, cleaning it thoroughly, then nodding at me and moving on to cleaning the windows in the next room. I still don't know what the hell was happening. Edit, she told me before bed that it needed to be cleaned so her cat could look out. The bottom of the windows get smeared because the cats push their faces against it. So she wanted it clean for them. Packing peas from our garden up her nose. This required a trip to the local hospital emergency room, where the doctor, a dad of several young children himself, thought it was hilariously funny. Soon my wife and I were laughing as well. When my little brother was 3, he's 25 now, he stuck an M&M up his nose. The doctor said to just let it melt. The babysitter was quite concerned when red and then brown started dripping out of his nose. For a while, our family joked that M&Ms melt in your nose, not in your hand. The M&M slogan at the time was they melt in your mouth, not in your hand. When my brother-in-law was 3, he was so obsessed with a toilet plunger they had to buy him his own so he'd stop grabbing the used one. It was his best friend. Once my cousin took her preschooler to our version of the dollar store and let her pick something for everyone in the family for a Christmas present. She bought my uncle/her grandfather a plunger. He spent most of that Christmas with it stuck to his bald head. He's a good sort. Let's see, my daughter was drinking strawberry milk and then spitting it back into the cup so she could drink it again. I had hosed off a tarp and it was drying on the patio. We went outside and she just stooped down and took a drink out of a puddle on the tarp. Just today I was in the garage and she came out, instantly grabbed a toothbrush I used to clean car parts, and stuck it in her mouth. I don't even know anymore. She's going to have a killer immune system. Or tetanus. One of those for sure. When my son was 3 years old, we noticed the smell of burnt plastic coming from our heater vents. I called one of our friends that worked in heating and cooling and he came over. Our furnace was in our crawl space so he went down. About 15 minutes later, he asked me to hand him 3 black garbage bags through one of the vents so I did so. He came up later with 3 bags of plastic toys. I had wondered where all my son's toys were going. I asked my son why he was putting toys down the vents. He said, "Mommy, there are alligators down there and if I don't feed them my toys, they will eat my sister. I would have fed my sister to the vent alligators rather than lose all my toys." You're raising a kind kid. I was the child. I was in my backyard and noticed there were a lot of slugs around since it had been raining. I was concerned that they had nowhere to go and they would be stuck outside where they would drown in the rain. So I went to the garage and got a bin and went around collecting every slug I could find. Then I got the idea to make it into a miniature city. I put in water, moss sticks, etc. and it became a project of mine that I maintained for weeks. Well, one day my mom walks outside for whatever reason and finds me holding a bin that's just full of slugs. She made me put them back and hose the bin down. I was pissed I lost all my hard work. I saw my kid, who was 4, in the backyard looking for bugs or worms. He grabs something and puts it in his mouth. I asked him about a few minutes later. He said he ate a worm. I laughed and asked why. He said he wanted to know what it tasted like. So I asked what did it taste like. He said it tasted like mud. The next day I asked him if he really ate a worm. He replied yay in the most defeated and embarrassed way any human could. You live, you learn. My youngest daughter was about 18 months old. She had, about a week before, discovered how to climb out of her own crib. Also, about a month before, she had once taken off her own diaper, not a repeat event but a one-time thing. My Mill was visiting us, and we were all slow to wake up. Around 7:30, the baby monitor alerted me that my daughter was awake, but happy and content in her crib. I let my wife sleep in, and I grabbed a quick 5 minutes shower before going to grab her. When I got there, she had put the 2 pieces, climb out of the crib, and take off diaper, together, and used them to repaint her room. I will never recover from the trauma of the smell. Not yet a mother, but I am the oldest of 4. When I was in high school I had a bathroom in my room. Very important to specify, it wasn't my bathroom. You just needed to go through my room to use it. That said, one day my youngest brother, probably around 6 at the time, was pooping, and being young had no shame so the door was wide open. I walk into my room to see he had taken all of the cardboard tampon applicators out of the trash can and built extended fingers with them. I could not stop laughing as I told him to take them off. My son did that when he was about 5. He came out of the bathroom with tampon applicators on his hand, made them extend and said, "Mommy, I'm Wolverine." At the time, I was pregnant with my second child. I walked past the bathroom and heard my firstborn son, who was about 1.5 years old, in there making coughing sounds. I go in to look and he was standing by the toilet coughing into it. I had horrible morning sickness and he was mimicking me throwing up. 3-year-old daughter would dig through the garden or under backyard objects to find pill bugs/woodlice and then bring them to us when they rolled into a ball. My wife and I would feign interest and tell her that they would stop rolling up into a ball once she left them alone. A while back, my wife had given her a small, unused makeup bag. One summer night, I caught her whispering into the makeup bag right before bedtime. I asked her whom she was talking to. She said she was talking to all the beetles that didn't want to stop being balls. I looked inside, the makeup bag was full of dead pill bugs, at least 30 of them. She had been collecting them and trying to talk them out of their ball position. Thanks for watching. Please, feel free to leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe.